Being humble is not something that comes naturally to human beings. As I move around and interact with people, I have found that most of them do not really know what humility looks like. Historically, humility has been linked to the word meekness. That is why in the Beatitudes, which are the teachings of Jesus on the Mount of Olives, we hear him say, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." The word meekness rhymes with weakness. And in a world where a lot of people are hungry for power and negative influence, you can bet that no one will want to be associated with this word. Or have you ever heard anyone say they want to grow up to be meek? You will be surprised to find that the word meekness surprisingly comes from the word praus. In a post written by Sam Whatley, he observed that the Greek word praus was used to define a horse trained for battle. Wild stallions were brought down from the mountains and broken for riding. Some were used to pull wagons, some were raced, and the best were trained for warfare. They trained their fierce spirit, courage and power, but were disciplined to respond to the slightest nudge or pressure of the rider's leg. They could gallop into battle at 35 miles per hour and come to a sliding stop at a word. They were not frightened by arrows, spears, or torches. Then they were said to be meek. To be made meek was to be taken from a state of wild rebellion and made completely loyal to and dependent upon one's master. The idea here is that meek and humble people are powerful people, though they do not flaunt their strength and power. It is true that in God, we encounter something that is immeasurably superior to ourselves. You do not need to look too far to see that God is in charge and in control. You cannot have more control than Him. Walking in humility begins with acknowledging God as God. Many people keep God at a safe distance because they do not want Him to interfere with their lives. They do not in any way want to give up control of their lives. However, you have to wonder, do we really have that much control over anything? No, we don't. When you find that you are beginning to put God aside in your plans, decisions, and preparations, just know that you have ceased to walk on the paths of humility. You must never forget that we are weak creatures. Our bodies are wasting away, which in itself should cause us to see our great need for God. Only when we understand our need for Him does true humility begin. Humility is a place of entire dependence on God. Pride, on the other hand, seeks to be independent of God. The Bible has this to say in Philippians chapter 2, from verse 3 to 4. Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, through factional motives or strife, but with an attitude of humility. Be neither arrogant nor self-righteous. Regard others as more important than yourselves. Do not merely look out for your own personal interests, but also for the interests of others. You cannot walk in humility when you consider yourself as more important than others. At the center of every feeling of self-importance is pride. And pride is a sharp antithesis to humility. That the Bible encourages us to regard others as more important than us does not in any way mean we are inferior beings. It also doesn't mean we are thinking less of ourselves. Rather, we have taken a posture of thinking of ourselves less and giving priority to the needs and concerns of others over and above ours. Yes, we all have needs. But when you put the needs of others before yours, you you are invariably handing over your own needs to God. Whatever is put in the hands of God is definitely in safe and secured hands. Walking in humility requires that you are willing to serve. There is no humility without service. The way up is found on the ladder of wholehearted and selfless service. Jesus said that he who aspires greatness must never run away from serving people. In fact, what defines humility many times is service. If you find that you have a desire for people to always do things for you, without you ever having to lift a finger, then you should know that you are not walking in humility. To be in this world is to sit on the edge of offenses. While it is true that many people will offend you, you must also be rest assured that you will also offend a lot of people. We are not perfect beings, and this is enough to humble you. Yet, in addition to that, walking in humility means that you must always be quick to own up to your faults and mistakes and errors. There are people who will never admit that they are wrong, even when the facts are glaring before everyone. If making a mistake makes you look bad, refusing to own up and apologize makes you worse. Apologizing or saying sorry doesn't make you less of a human being. It doesn't take anything away from you. So, walk in the way of humility by being quick to apologize and admit your misgivings. As you make every effort to walk in humility, be fully aware that you cannot do it on your own. You will need the help of the Holy Spirit. This is because, like we have said earlier, humility doesn't come to any man naturally. Finally, walking in humility comes with rewards. The book of Proverbs chapter 22 verse 4 says, "The reward for humility and fear of the Lord is riches and honor and life." Do you want to get rich and wealthy? Be humble. Do you seek honor and respect? Toss away pride. Is it your desire that you will live long and enjoy the goodness of God? Wear the garment of meekness.